During Live Letter Part 92, we got a look at some upcoming mounts coming in patch 7.5 and its corresponding patches. So not just in 7.5, but also 7.55, 5.6, etc. And this is the shot then that we first got when Yoshi P opened the mount list. We have some interesting creatures here that are very hard to kind of figure out where they're from or what they are. Certainly at the top left, we have this bird type creature. I'm not really sure where that's from. I don't recognize it, but we've seen monster models like that in the game before. And the more I think about this, I think the axe beak might be something you get from the Faux Hollows minigame, probably from the new Unreal that drops in patch 7.5 for Shinryu Unreal. So like the Faux Hollows minigame usually rewards you with mounts from doing Unreal from the Faux Hollow tokens, your faux leaves, and those monsters are usually like bestial related, usually without saddles, like usually like just a one-to-one from the monster. So it could very easily be on there. I don't know where else it could fit in apart from just another Occult Crescent mount, but it's probably likely to be Unreal now I think about it. Second on the list then is the wing mount. This is the brand new wings from the NUO Extreme version. So that's the new wings. Yoshi P actually flew around on these. They look pretty cool. And when you take to the sky, you also get tendrils come out the back, which is very much reminiscent of the fight itself, where you've got tentacles coming out of NUO itself. So that's pretty cool. Then we got a preview at what the capstone mount is. So what I mean by that is the mount for collecting all of the other extreme mounts in Dawntrail, and it's this, which is the Wings of Legacy, which is a 6-winged mount that goes onto your back, much like the other wing mounts. Not all of the wings are available when you're in terrestrial form, but when you take to the sky, they sprout out, kind of looking like a safer Sephiroth or something like that. Really, really cool. I like the back of this as well, the gold and the white. Definitely makes me want to go and farm the other wings. I've left it a little late. I actually don't have any wing mounts myself, so we need to go and collect more totems and get those. But yeah, that is a really cool mount. So instead of having a capstone mount similar to getting all of the Lynxes and getting Bahamut, for example, or before that with the Guibas and getting a giant Mecho Dragon, it seems to be more stylized to be more wings. Very cool. I like that a lot, especially for people who want to make like Sephiroth glams or maybe like a Kefka glam. That could fit perfectly as the mount to go with that. Just also a little extra point here that I thought was worth including in the translation, thanks to obviously the Discord community for the translations for the Final Fantasy XIV Discord. Toshio Moroshi was said to have brought up the fact that when that you're in ground mount, he wishes that you could have all 6 wings out, and Yoshi P says, well, why don't you just fly? And then Toshio Moroshi was like, well, what happens when I'm doing PvP? And that's a really good point. Yoshi P said that, this has made me think about it, to which point they said, oh, this is probably not the right time to bring this up. But it is a really good point, and I hope that they continue with that thought process, because so many mounts look way cooler in the air, but if you're doing PvP or something that is forcing you to be on the ground only, using these mounts looks less impressive. And, you know, being a capstone mount, it is more wings. It does look very similar like this. There's not all 6 wings, so maybe they could change that in the future. Fingers crossed that would be cool, like a toggle switch or something. But yeah, that was they spent quite a while just talking about this on the actual live stream. But yeah, that would be a nice feature to add in the future. But those wings look absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I need to get the rest now. I need that. Then we have the little leaf dude. We've seen these involved in little quests before in the game. Presumably this might be something to do with the Allied Society quest. There's a new capstone quest being introduced for all of the Allied Societies as one, basically a new quest line. They haven't done this for quite some time. This is the Dawntrail one. It's likely to be the mount reward from that. I'm not sure if we can read into it any more than that. Of course, we have no confirmation, but it's most likely. And considering we have a minion in the game, which is the Jaktika Leafkin, if you remember, this is something with a blue leaf sort of organization, very similar model. This is something you can get with the Mamulja Beast Tribe, so that's what makes me think this is the Allied Society capstone mount, just a mount version of that. I could be wrong, though, but it's pretty likely, right? I don't know where else you would probably have this added. I don't think they're going to backdate and add to the actual Mamulja. So Then we have a Magitech spider mount, which appears to be a Magitech spider mount. The reason I say that is it's very similar to the icon for the one we already have. It's very similar to the cosmic armored weapon that we've got in the game, also from Cosmic Exploration. So this could be a pink variant of that, or at least it looks like it. This could be from Cosmic, of course, with a new Cosmic Exploration place, which is Oxessia. That could be part of that reward system, just like a new variant of that mount. Additionally, we have a reskin of what looks like the Magitech Predator mount that you could get from the Alamigo dungeon, if you remember. This then, very briefly, Yoshi P highlighted over it as he's moving his mouse, is called the Cosmo Predator. So that's confirmation that that's where that comes from. So we get a white version of the Magitech Predator, like a reskin from Cosmic Exploration. This could be part of the Wheel of Fortune minigame, or of course this could be from other sources as well, like the new sort of treasure map system they incorporated, which is the artifact system, if you knew about that, where you basically collect X amount of tokens from doing your EX Plus missions, and then you can go and get rewards from basically finding a treasure map on the map inside the cosmic sort of zone, and you get rewards. Last time we had a mount from that. It's likely there'll be another one, although I'm leaning more towards the big pink spider robot being probably from that, and the Magitech Predator, the Cosmo Predator reskin, then probably being from the Cosmic Fortune credits, right? A vendor purchased mount. There is usually one of those. Additionally, we have a look at the excavation type power loader. So this is the blue version. This would be our 5th power loader. So the mobile suits, we have white, we have black, we have gray, we have light blue, and this would be the dark blue version that was debuted, I think, in the previous content. That means we get access to the blue power loader as well from Cosmic Exploration. Then we have the Quiet Colibri. It seems that thanks to Google Translate here from Yoshi P looking at this, which is a interesting mount where you hang on to the bottom of a flamingo, a colibri, as it tries to carry you across the sky. I believe that this is going to be related to that of the Occult Crescent North Horn, mostly because of the write-up text saying, via translation, a colibri that lived on Crescent Island. It was causing trouble and provocation to the giant beast near Guarga, so Ketenram punished it. It seems Ketenram tamed it and used it as a mount. Now that its foul mouth has subsided, it seems to have become completely silent. So presumably this is related to maybe a critical engagement or something to do with that, but it will likely be North Horn because of the mention of Ketenram, of course. Next, we have the Duck Porter. That's the direct translation. It is a platypus mount. It does say a beastman resembling a platypus. Judging from the markings on its body, it is likely a familiar that served a mage during a great magic war. It seems to have had the role of a locksmith, but decided to take an adventure as its new master changed jobs to a courier, quote from the translation there. This again will likely be Occult Crescent related, so I'm not sure where this is necessarily from. It could even be part of the Fort Tower now that they've made a normal mode and made it more accessible as part of a quest line, but it could also be on a vendor as well. So that's another Occult Crescent North Horn mount. At this point in the live stream, Yoshi P mentioned how Lalafels actually stand on this, but every other race will sit. So it's basically a chair on the back of the platypus here. It's quite adorable. And yeah, I want to learn more about the platypus people. That's hopefully explained in the storyline. I would quite like to see the platypus people as a future Allied Society quest, I'm not going to lie. Just seeing a village full of platypuses in the next expansion would make me just grin from ear to ear. I don't know about you. The Night Stallion, which you might remember from the Hildebrand storyline. There will be the finale of the Hildebrand storyline coming in the next series of patches in 7.5, probably 7.55 or something like that. It's usually a 5.5 patch, isn't it, where you get Hildebrand. So the Night Stallion write-up translated say is a replica model of the Night Stallion, the beloved aircraft of Detective Hardboiled. The original aircraft was so heavily customized that its handling became extremely finicky, making it difficult for amateurs to fly. However, this model is in its original specifications, and the aircraft's response is very straightforward. So presumably that means Hildebrand ultimately rewards us with a mount, which is really, really cool. I don't know if there's going to be a trial related to Hildebrand. I mean, there is a fan fest coming up. It is very likely there's going to be a trial related to that for the battle challenge at FanFest. It wouldn't surprise me. And usually they like to finish off Hildebrand with something like they did with the Gilded Araya before. It would be nice to have a mount reward. Be nice to have more rewards, honestly. Hildebrand's been quite good. I've enjoyed it, at least personally, but that gives you another reason to do it if you want to get another mount. And then, of course, lastly, we have the Rocket Punch, which is one of the first ones that he showed, which is very reminiscent, of course, of Omega. If you've ever done Omega on Savage or Normal, you might remember the Rocket Punch coming across in various parts of a fight that would try to destroy you. Here's my character getting knocked off of a platform by one. Lovely memories there. But yes, it looks like you mount on the top of this. Bear in mind there is a new PvP series being added to the game for patch 7.5, and this could very easily be the mount reward. If there is a mount reward this time around, that could easily be placed into that. I'm not really sure where else this could be acquired from, but PvP is likely to have new rewards, and we do get mounts in PvP series quite often, so that's probably where I would put my money of that being from. It would also appear that another mount we would get is a grey warp loader or black warp loader. We've already got a red and a yellow one in the game, probably directly from the vendor at Cosmic Exploration, or maybe even from the Cosmic Fortune minigame where you spin the wheel. But yeah, it looks like we're getting another reskin of that. But that's all of the mounts that they showed, or at least on that window. There could be more, but that gives us, what, 12 mounts in 7.5 and then its subsequent patches. So it's very likely there'll be lots of ways to get those from a variety of different content. There's new PvP, a new Cosmic Exploration Moon. There's the Occult Crescent, obviously. There's quite a lot of big pieces of content. Of course, there is also Beastmaster as well. You have to remember that there could be a reward from Beastmaster as well. So one of those creatures, maybe the first one on that image, might be from Beastmaster content, from the Crucible. That seems to be, scheduled to have lots of rewards added to it as well. It would likely have a mount, likely, right? Anyway, let's move on. Yoshi showed this picture, which is none other than Bart's Glamour from Final Fantasy V. If you squint enough, you might just about see pixels that are reminiscent of that, but it seems that that's the Bart's outfit for his freelancer outfit, which is pretty cool. We also have Lena, I believe, and Faris, right? Some interesting glams. Obviously, they've never looked as good as this. It's very difficult to kind of, compare the footage of Final Fantasy V, at least from a pixel remaster. Maybe the remakes, like the 3D remakes, it's closer to. But yeah, so that's likely going to be in Occult Crescent, and that'll likely be from your Occult Crescent vendors, so you'll probably have stats on it, or it could be just Glamour, but there appears to be 3 pieces of glam from Occult Crescent, or at least that we've seen so far. Then from Cosmic Exploration, we have this sort of mech engineer sort of outfit. Looks like it's got tools on a tool belt, an interesting hat, like a space engineer. Looks pretty cool. Not my personal cup of tea, but, I'm sure some people will love that. And then additionally, there is another outfit that also looks like it would be from Cosmic Exploration, which is this other kind of engineer, but slightly different. Again, not my cup of tea, but I'm sure there are elements of that in the game. Once, I see an in-game render of this, I'll probably like. But yeah, but that's pretty much all of the mounts and all of the glam that was shown. There'll likely be lots of other mounts, other minions, and other glamour added in 7.5 and beyond. And as soon as we get our hands on it, we'll find out where it's from and do showcase videos as usual. But I thought it was interesting to sit down, look through some of this, and kind of speculate as to where some of it might be from. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. More videos on the way, and I'll see you all next time.